In this episode, we will see another example of achieving multiple factor authentication. This time we need to verify the client's certificate that will be issued by a trusted CA. The certificate of trusted CA will be put on our F5 Big AP to verify these certificates issued by clients. So the client will be able to access the authorized resources after giving F5 APM module his certificate to be verified firstly. After that, the client can put his username and password to be authenticated, for example, against the Active Directory itself. But firstly, our F5 Big AP APM module needs to verify the certificate of this client. First of all, we are going to do some system activities on our Active Directory to start issuing certificates for these clients. Then we will see how to configure the profile needed to authenticate this client on F5 Big AP LTM module, and then call the result from LTM module to our APM module. Without further theoretical stuff, let's get started, not to put you in a conflict. The first thing that we need to do is to configure system activities. Here on our Active Directory, we need to have a CA, Certificate Authority. Certificate Authority will help F5 Big AP APM module to achieve this demo. How? The first thing is the Certificate Authority root certificate. This root certificate will trust all of the issued certificates for all existed clients. So F5 Big AP APM needs to have this certificate to be able to trust all of these clients existed into this VLAN. Secondly, this client will try to get a certificate from this CA using some configurations related to Certificate Authority, and apply those configurations through group policy management to be pushed to all clients that are going to join this domain. So once the client joins the domain, then it will pull a certificate from this CA. Here on your domain controller, you need firstly to start configuring the certificate authority. I have configured the certificate authority on my domain controller, so not to waste the time. If you need to configure your CA on your domain controller, just click Manage, Add Rules, click Next until you finish these prerequisites needed, until you find Active Directory Certificate Services. It's installed on my side. You can start to install Active Directory Certificate Services. Try to get a guide for this. Don't try to install it yourself, because there are some problems could be occurred for the issued certificates and things like this. So try to search for the method of installing Active Directory Certificate Services. It's quite easy and you can get it from any place. Okay, so I have Certificate Authority installed. If I need to open the Certificate Authority, just click on Tools. Here we have Certificate Authority. If I expanded this one here we can start to monitor those certificates existed under Certificate Authority. That's called Test Serve CA. This is my root CA. Here I can start to issue certificate, trust certificate, revoke certificate, and so forth. So this is my trust authority. What I just need to do here is to get the certificate of this root certificate authority. To get the certificate, I will open a quick browser here. I will log in to our certificate authority that's hosted here on this localhost. Just type localhost /cert/serve and click enter. Type your administrator and the password. Here we opened our certificate authority. We can download the CA certificate, Certificate Authority Certificate. This certificate is needed to trust the clients connected to F5 Big AP APM. So I will download the certificate, download the CA certificate, then I will save this file. Let me open this file here and I will name it Test Local CA. This certificate I need to put on Big AP APM module to trust all of the clients that are going to connect to me as an APM module, because all of these certificates are issued from the CA. So to trust them, I need to have the root CA for this issuer here, which is Test Serve CA. So this is the certificate here. Now let's see the configurations needed to issue certificates for clients that are going to join our domain. Let's open Server Manager one more time. Here we have our certificate authority. So if I go to certificate template here, if I click on certificate template, we have a template for the user. So what I need to do to duplicate this template and start creating our own, just right click on certificate templates, click manage. A new page will be appearing to you. Now we have two main templates. We have user and we have workstation. These are the default templates existed here. Not to edit for these templates, we can duplicate those templates and put our needed configuration. These are the main templates that I have created. The first one here is user certificate, and the second one I think it's up there, which is called machine certificate. So the user certificate here, make sure you give it a name, and you picked up the user principal name here to be chosen here for the Active Directory information. if you open security tab, here under domain users, make sure that you choose read, enroll, and auto enroll to be able to pull a certificate directly from our certificate authority. And for the machine template here, which is this one here called workstation certificate, make sure also under general to give it a name. Under subject name, you need to make sure that you have the DNS name and also user principal name, because we are talking now about the machine certificate. The machine certificate will have inside the alternate subject name the DNS name of the machine itself, the fully qualified domain name. Here under security, make sure under domain computers to have read, enroll, and auto enroll. Once you finish, click OK and close the certificate templates. Then you will find user certificate, machine certificate are created right here. You can start to apply the global policy management to push these configurations to clients that are joining this domain to be affected by these certificates existed here. Those templates are used to give client certificates. This is the main usage for these templates that we have created. So let's open Server Manager again. Here under tools, we have group policy management. This is the default domain policy. I will change this policy to affect all of these components under this default domain policy. So let's click edit. Here under computer level and also under user level. Under computer level, expand policies. We have here Windows settings. We have security. Down there we have public key policies. Then we have certificates, services client, auto enrollment. Means this client should pull a certificate from our CA. Double click on this option, make sure it's enabled. Click OK. Also on the level of the user itself, expand policies, Windows settings. Under security, we have here public key policies. The last one here on the level of the user itself, make sure it's enabled also. Once you finish, don't forget to enforce the policy to affect all of these users joining this domain. Once you finished here, we need to gp update/force to affect all of these clients that are already logged in to our domain. Once we finish and this client tried to join our domain or log into his account, we can monitor these issued certificates for these kind of clients. How to monitor these certificates? Let's get back to the main page of CA, which is Certificate Authority. Here we have issued certificates. So if you click on this link here, and I have logged with Bob on our test machine for Windows 8, the name of the machine here, it took a certificate, and Bob himself took a certificate from this template, which is user certificate. And for the machine itself, it pulled the certificate from the machine certificate template that we have created. Finally, let's start configuring our BigIP APM module. What we need to do here is to put our CA certificate to trust these clients that will issue certificates from the CA. Also, we need to put some edits on LTM module. Then we will use only one agent for our APM policy that depends in fact on LTM module. Especially we are talking about the client SSL profile. Let's firstly log into our BigIP appliance. Firstly, we should upload our certificate authority trusted certificate to trust all of these clients, right? So under system, we have here certificate management, traffic certificate management. We are talking about traffics, right? So all of these certificates will be uploaded here. Here I have uploaded the certificate. This is the certificate that we were talking about, gotten from the CA itself, downloaded from it actually. Then here to import the certificate, just click import. So easy here. Choose select. I need to import a certificate, give it a name, choose the file, and that's it. Click import. Alright, so here to start trusting the client using client certificate authentication, we just need to make the communication between this client and the virtual server HTTPS, not HTTP, because there are some SSL communications are going to happen here. So we need SSL to be enabled on the level of the virtual server. The client needs also to trust this virtual server, means the HTTPS certificate itself for the client needs to be trusted. For this reason, simply you can generate a CSR, then sign this CSR from the CA authority itself that we were talking about. Because using this certificate authority also, you can trust the certificate or certificate signing request generated by F5 BigIP system. How can we do so? Under system, traffic management, we can create a new certificate. This certificate will be issued using certificate authority, means this that we are creating is a CSR. Fill your data and don't forget here to put the subject alternative name. If you have a DNS server, it can resolve the fully qualified domain name of BigIP system. You can put DNS here. If not, just put the IP address. Once you finish filling your data, click finished. Then you can start to download the certificate, the CSR, to be signed from the CA authority. Let's complete this demo one more time. So here, let's give it a name. I will name it signed from CA. Alright, so here, let's fill the data. This is the subject alternative name. Just everything is made. Here I click finished. And here, this is the request text. If I Control A, Control C, and went to the Active Directory Certificate Authority, which is this one, and get back to the main page, here we need to request a certificate, not to download the CA certificate. We got the CA certificate, but we need to request a certificate. Click on Advanced Certificate Request. Just paste here the code. Choose the mode of the certificate or the template of the certificate to be web server, because we are dealing with virtual server, which is in fact a web server. Click Submit. Your certificate authority will sign the CSR for you and give you the full certificate that you can download, and the key is embedded into this certificate. Get back to your big IP system. Here you can click Finished and import the signed certificate to this created CSR. Click import. Here I will choose this file, which is number 7. Click open, click import, and this is the new certificate that we have created. It contains the certificate and also the key. Then we can use the certificate inside our client SSL profile that we are going to apply on the level of the virtual server. Let's open local traffic, go to profiles, SSL profile client. We can start to create a new profile. Let me create it. Here let's name it client authentication, for example. Here I will choose here the certificate chain, click add. Let's choose our certificate, which is called signed from CA. The key is signed from CA, click add, and down below here click finished. By doing so, you have created the client SSL profile that could be used on the level of the virtual server, but we didn't still enable the client authentication. By doing this step only, this means if the client asks it for your virtual server through HTTPS, then the traffic will be initiated successfully and the client can access your virtual server through HTTPS, and also it will be trusted. Why? Because the certificate itself is signed from the domain, and this client that's trying to access this virtual server is joining the domain, means he can trust all of these CSR that are signed from the domain, right? But now we didn't enable the client authentication. To enable client authentication, open your client SSL profile one more time. If you scroll down here, you will find a part called client authentication. Just enable this part here. Client certificate, if it's ignore, means if the client didn't give me his certificate to be validated, means I will ignore this and the client can complete his work. This is not something that I should do. I need to be require. Require means if the client didn't give me his certificate issued from the certificate authority, means I will completely discard the message and the client will not be able to open any APM policy to be verified against the APM created and also to access his resources. So here I would choose the trusted certificate authority, this thing to trust these issued certificates for the clients. I would choose CA root. For also the advertised, I would choose CA root. Once you finish, click update, and don't forget to apply this profile on the virtual server that you are going to connect to. How to do so? Here under virtual server, choose your own virtual server, scroll down until you find SSL profile, especially for client, and choose the SSL profile that we have created. So this profile that I have created previously before I record this episode is exactly similar to this profile that we have created now. For this reason, I wouldn't change anything. I will keep it at the default when I started to record this session, but you got the idea. Here, let's start our APM work. Our APM work, in fact, will not take more than 10 seconds. What we just need to do is to add an agent here called on-demand cert authentication. This agent will be automatically work after checking the antivirus, even before the login page appeared for the client, because I just don't want this client to connect to our login page before I trust his certificate. In fact, this place is not that precise place to be put here. Why? Because we passed through multiple stages before we reached this one. I just need to verify the certificate of the client before doing anything. So why not to delete this agent from here? And I will here at the extreme left, I will click add item. Even before getting information about the platform itself, under authentication, we have on-demand certificate authentication. Click add item. This will inherit from LTM module, the client SSL profile itself, because there's nothing here to be configured. Just demand the certificate of the client, and the authentication mode is request. Maybe it could be request, it could be require. So I would choose to be require also. Means if the client didn't give me the certificate, I will not verify him and I will not complete anything inside your APM policy that you have created. Click save. So as you see, on-demand certificate authentication, once the client opens the browser will ask this client to give him the certificate to be verified here. If it succeeded, then all of these stages will be done for this client. Let's apply the access policy. Let's get back to check sessions, overview active sessions, no active sessions. So let's open our client to start verifying this. This is Bob. If you need to verify that Bob has certificates, let me use run here and open MMC console. I think here this is a good evidence that we have a certificate. So confirm the certificate by clicking OK. If not correct, click cancel. So it's verified here, so I will click OK. Let me open my browser and access this virtual server again. As you see, the browser asked the client to give him the certificate. So you can choose between the client certificates that you have. I have only one, so I will choose the certificate and click OK. This means we have passed certificate authentication. Open F5 inspector. As you see, also the traffic is encrypted and trusted. Why? Because it's signed by the CA and I'm a part of this domain that's contained on the CA. This is the certificate. Let me confirm the certificate to start checking the Windows platform operation and also checking for security softwares. Alright, now everything is working fine. Let me type my username, also my password, login. Here it sent me OTP. Let me check it through mail. Here is the OTP reached. I pull this OTP, click login. Then I can access our virtual server, and keep in mind it's protected, trusted, and the certificate for this web application is signed by test server CA, which is trusted for me. So again, in this demo we have done multiple things. I think they are needed for making multiple factor authentication. We can verify the client certificate. This is something the user has. Also, we can use one-time password. In fact, we have used 3-factor authentication. The thing that the client knows, which is the username and password for the domain. The thing that the client have, which is the token sent through mail. And also the thing that the client has, which is the certificate signed by the certificate authority. We requested the certificate, we verified it as APM module, and then we enabled this client from accessing the web application or resources should be accessed by this client.